Okay, so I am going to start painting in my art journal some flowers, and you can paint along with me if you would like. This is going to be a warm-up, so I like to come to my art journal and warm up before I take my painting to the canvas. So just for the sake of warming up, I have all kinds of craft paints out. I have a whole bunch of colors because I'm going to be doing florals, so I need some greens, some yellows, some pinks, some reds, some blues. So I've got just a whole bunch of craft paints here to make it really easy for just the art journaling part. I have a plate that I took a picture of that had some flowers on it that just really I liked. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to also kind of highlight to you the topic of consumption and creativity. So creation versus consumption. And the whole idea is that we consume a lot. We consume videos, television, magazines, social media, food, beverages. We're a very consumption-based society, would you say? And it needs to be brought into balance with creativity. God created us to be creative. And for that very reason, I'm doing this painting with you all today in my art journal. And it's just a warm-up. So if you want to paint along too, just remember this does not have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Because this is the pre-painting. I may take a version of today's painting to the canvas, or I may not. I may decide, nope, I don't like anything about it, and it may not actually end up on my canvas at all. But before I talk more about creativity and consumption, I want to just point out I've got a really warm brick red and just a bright red here. And I'm going to actually start with those two colors. Then I'm going to add, well, no, I'll just go ahead and add my purples now. So I've got a plum color here. And let's add a little bit of this other purple. This is just it's called Light Orchid next to it, just to kind of have a lighter version. And I've got yellow, but I don't think I have enough yellow. So I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow to my plate. I might go ahead and add this pink as well. I'm gonna get some pinks mixed in my flowers a little bit. Let's start there. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this brush, and this is around 8. Okay, and I think I'm gonna start with my brick red, and I'm gonna just kind of rough in the flower and just kind of roughing in some beginning petals and just kind of putting those strokes down kind of in the shape of the flower, but not being too particular about it. Let's throw in a petal there. And then we've got just kind of some petals that kind of seem to be circling around here. And the idea here is that, okay, I'm gonna dip into my red. I'm gonna come right over the top and just let that red mix in with this brick color. So as I'm doing this, you can paint along if you'd like. I really was hoping to inspire whoever watches this and to encourage whoever watches this to get a creativity practice going for yourself. So creativity practice, it can be anything, right? It can be crafting, it can be writing, it can be baking something really cool in your kitchen. It can be just anything. There are just so many ways to create. There's our first flower. Let's go ahead and add a more red flower down here. So I'm just gonna let this petal just jut right up into that. And these petals are gonna be a little bit more rounded. So I'm gonna get the just kind of the base shapes laid in here. And then once this kind of dries a bit, I'll come back over and lay lighter and lighter colors. So just FYI, I'm laying down the dark colors first. That works best for acrylics. And then we'll get lighter and lighter as we go up. And this center of this flower is actually very, very light. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip right into my, my white and my yellow. And I'm gonna get kind of a really light orange mixed up here. Just trying to keep a little bit of the color in it, but have plenty of white in it. And then the center of this flower is kind of like that. But anyway, so I'll just keep painting and talking. So as I was saying, it came up the other day in a YouTube video that I was watching that consumption is passive. And we're just not really doing anything. It's kind of mindless. And that really is just not good for us to have a life just completely based on consumption. And it brought me back to the fact that God created us in his image, and he is the creator, like extraordinaire, obviously. He created mankind in his image. And even when you remember back when he gave the instructions for the Israelites to build their temple and maybe even their tabernacle too, I'm not sure. He gave instructions, and he had people who were artists be chosen to kind of work on the scarlet and the purple and just the gold settings. And so the metal, the metal settings and just all the things that they had to build for the temple, he instructed them to choose these crafters who were very skilled in their craft. And I have a Bible verse about it that I was going to read to you, but I can't pick that up and read and paint at the same time. But let me just interrupt myself. So this was Exodus 35:35, and it says, he has filled them with skill to do all kinds of work as engravers, designers, embroiderers in purple, blue, and scarlet yarn, and fine linen, and weavers, all of them skilled workers and designers. So we can kind of take from that God appreciates creativity. He appreciates artisans. He created some people to be artisans. So not everyone is necessarily to be an artisan, but we all have creative things that we do. So I would really love to hear from you. What kinds of creative things do you like to do? What is it that kind of brings your creativity to life? Do you write? Do you cook, bake? Do you arrange? I'm always so impressed by interior decorators. Oh goodness, I think that would be fun. Like if I was going to completely change careers way back in my youth, I think I would have told myself to become an interior decorator. I just love that whole concept of making spaces beautiful. But anyway, I would like to hear from you. What do you like to do that's creative and that maybe puts some of your God-given skills to use? It's so much fun to see everyone's different ways of being creative. It's amazing to me. So this whole idea, so let's go back and talk about consumption a little bit. So consumption, there's problems with consumption in that you're very passive when you're doing it. Your mind kind of gets numbed out is kind of how I would put it. And we kind of get caught in getting this dopamine fix, I think. And that's addictive. it's highly addictive, and you can see some people even get addicted to shopping. They get themselves in trouble, they get themselves in debt, and that is certainly not healthy or balanced. So I just wanted to point out some of the downfalls with too much consumption, not to mention it takes us away from people. It really, I'm going to put in my other flower here. Consumption, it doesn't really promote being in community. It doesn't really promote sharing, with others that much. But when you're creating something, like even now, here I am, I'm creating this, I'm talking to you, I am probably going to paint an actual painting on a canvas from this later. And that painting that I paint later, I will take out into the community and show it somewhere and talk about it and hope that it inspires people. And so it's just, creativity is it's a great way to build community and be out sharing with others versus consumption. I feel like it just kind of takes place alone. Everybody seems to be just kind of quietly consuming whatever's on their cell phone, their Netflix, their television, and they're kind of doing it in the solitude of their home. So that's an encouragement for us to create. Okay, so what are some of the other benefits of creating? Well, I've done other videos that you can watch later if you would like on here about art journaling, and I use art journaling as a way to help me remember scripture. So I'll paint about a scripture, and that connection then helps my brain recall what it was that scripture was teaching me. Okay, while I've got this purple on my brush, I think I'm gonna just kind of add some sprigs. I dropped a big glop of purple right there. So let's just kind of pull some cute little sprigs up here, some purple sprigs, and plop those in just right up there. And let's pull in some purple sprigs over here. Okay, so I'm just kind of popping them in a few places here. And again, this is a good way for me to see what I'm liking composition-wise and what I'm liking color-wise and what I'm not liking. And I can already tell you I'm not caring for that brick red yet. Now, maybe when it dries, I'll like it more. I don't know. I'm just really not caring for it. I'm gonna put some darker plum color in these. They kind of got lightened up by the other lilac color. So let's plop some of that. Let's make this longer. Okay, yeah, I'm just lengthening these now. Okay, so that's gonna look a little different than this one, and that's okay. I'm gonna bring some of my yellow in, I think now. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my brush. Okay, I'm back to creativity. One thing I also wanted to mention is I've been a marriage and family therapist for well over 20 years. And I specialized in expressive arts therapy. And one thing that was so neat is I loved leading expressive arts therapy workshops primarily for women. Every now and then I would have a man come into my office who was really excited to do some of the expressive arts therapy because it meant that they didn't have to talk so much. And that's what expressive arts therapy can do for us. It can help us to express kind of some of what's going on without having to come up with words all the time. Sometimes it's hard to express things with just words, especially trauma. So it works really well with kids too. But one of the things I particularly liked at the expressive arts therapy workshops that I did was people would open up and share about their art, and everyone would be so supportive. And even if the prompt was the exact same prompt for everyone, everyone took it a little bit in a little bit of a different direction. And so you could really see people's individuality and creativity come out. And that was just so neat. And it was also such an honor and a privilege to be let into someone's inner world through their art, and then them kind of explaining it to us however they wanted to. So that was pretty neat. And my own creativity healing journey, when we moved here to Tennessee, didn't know anyone, and really just was craving art in my life, making art. And so I started painting with acrylics, and it was so soothing. When you are just painting for yourself alone in your room, and it's very, you have to be focused, kind of. Well, not kind of, you do. You're very focused. And when you're painting something that you're really enjoying, you get into kind of this flow state, and time passes really quickly when you're in that flow state. So that was a benefit that I definitely discovered for myself, was rather than focus on how much I missed. We moved from San Diego area, California, to Tennessee. So it was quite the adjustment, quite a differing climate, different culture in terms of just kind of the way people interact. Everything about Tennessee is very, very different from California, Southern California. And so it was a real adjustment. It was good. It was a positive change in a lot of ways. The people here in Tennessee are very warm. They talk to you like you can be going in an elevator, and then they'll just tell you like their whole life story. It's just really cool. I love that about Tennesseans. Let's see. So yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying that it was just a difficult adjustment, though, not really knowing anyone, not having any friends or any family here other than the family that we all moved together. My sons, my husband, and I. So the idea of painting and just getting into that flow state and making something that I enjoyed, it was just really helpful, really healing for me at that moment. So I hope that you too can just discover the joy of painting. And I think one of the best ways to do that, and it can be with watercolors, it can be with acrylics, it can be whatever paints you want to attempt to try. I think that the key is taking an approach where it's very relaxed at first. Now, if you want to go into it more to sell your work, great. But at first, if you don't think about that so much, you're going to be more relaxed when you're painting. Like this painting that I'm doing right now, I am much more relaxed because this is in my art journal. This exact painting will not probably make it out anywhere beyond this video and my art journal. So I am not sitting here worrying about every little thing being perfect and all of that. I'm just having fun. So I hope that you can get that practice going for yourself. And whether it's painting or something completely different, some sort of creative practice. So in the comments, I would really like to hear from you. What is your favorite way to be creative? Have you painted before? Do you like painting with acrylics? Let me know, because I'd really like to. If lots of people seem to kind of be enjoying this thought of painting with acrylics, I'd really like to do more videos where I'm actually demonstrating some of the beginners techniques that can just get somebody started and encourage them in their own creative journey, their own creative practice. So you can see I'm adding in just these little light green stems here and there. Let's put a darker green stem over here. So I'm just gonna kind of pop that in like a few places. I'm not gonna do a full straight line. I'm just gonna kind of hint at it. Just a few little green sprigs coming off like so. So there we go. I think I'm gonna add some orange dots to the center there. Also, I'm gonna grab a little of this darker green and just kind of pull that stem in a little bit darker. And pull a stem in here. So this is like the first beginning layer. This is still really, really wet, and I don't care for that really, really dark brick color, so I am going to do something different there. I may go over it with just red. We'll see, but I gotta get this purple off of here. It started to dry already, so I'm just kind of plucking that up. Let's go back. I'm gonna grab some red and some yellow and make an orange. Okay, let's just get a nice orange going here. And let's see, I would love also to hear from you your thoughts on consumption versus creativity. Do you feel like we've become over-consuming in our society? Do you feel like it's been maybe not so good for our children? Well, for us as adults either. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on that too. So in the comments below, whatever thoughts you want to leave for me. The other thing that I love to do is I really enjoy praying for people. And the Lord has given me this desire to encourage people, not only to be creative, but to just encourage people to look to the Lord for their strength, for their joy. My goodness, if we don't look to the Lord for our joy, I don't know where else we would look, because the Lord has been just completely my sustenance. He is my joy. And I'm going to add a little stem right there. Here I am trying to talk and paint without talking about what I'm painting. It's a challenge. Yeah, definitely a challenge. So let's just wrap this up. This is still really, really wet. I'm going to let that dry a little bit more. I think I'm going to pop in some more layers on this flower, and I'll probably add some lighter colors into this flower. Oh, while I've got you on here, I'll show you. Sometimes I just love to add like something kind of unexpected. So I'm gonna grab this color here, maybe Calypso blue. It has a plastic still on it. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can get it off. So let's open up this Calypso blue real quick. And I'm just gonna put this tiniest touch of Calypso blue. And I'm gonna grab a different paintbrush, and I'm gonna add in some Calypso blue leaves somewhere. Where do I want these leaves to be kind of poking out? Let's poke some out down here. So I'm just gonna kind of push and let these leaf shapes just kind of show up. And I'll put stems on it later. Just pushing down and kind of pulling up. And just making some little leaf shapes down here. And let's pull in some up here too, just a little bit. Not too many. And I kind of like to do things in threes quite a bit. It's one of my favorite things to do, is pop things in uneven numbers. And 3 is a good number. I don't want to make this painting too crowded. I might even make some mud here. Let's make a little mud. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that brick and mix it with that Calypso blue. And we're getting kind of just this real muddy color. And I'm just going to kind of pop that in as stems. Some thin little stems coming down. And coming up too. So I am going to, I'm going to stop there, and I am going to shut this off. But before I do, I just want to wrap up with this last thought here from my article. This article can be found on my blog, which is at sherryjoycollier.com. And so one of the things I had put here is being creative helps us reconnect with ourselves. When we create, we tap into our thoughts, emotions, and unique perspectives. This self-expression helps us process life's complexities and find meaning and build community, sharing our creations with each other. Whether it's a painting, a meal, or a piece of writing, it fosters connection and encourages others to embrace their own creativity. And then finally, to experience God's presence. As we create, we mirror the Creator's image within us. This act of pulling ingredients together from God's creation to create our own unique blend can be a great way to bring glory to God and a way to experience God's joy. So here we go. Set aside time to create. Dedicate a portion of your day or week to creative activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. You'll be totally impressed with what it does for your mood. Be intentional about what you consume. Choose books, courses, and media that inspire and uplift you rather than simply filling time. And reflect on your habits. Regularly assess whether your consumption and creation are in balance. Are you spending more time scrolling than sketching, watching than writing, or buying than building? So embrace your creative calling. God has designed each one of us with the capacity to create. And when we embrace this calling, we can find ourselves more in tune with Him, with others, and with our own hearts. By striking a balance between creating and consuming, we can live fuller, richer lives that reflect the beauty and purpose of our Creator. So that's my encouragement for you today. I'm going to add a little bit more to this. I'll probably take a picture of it when it's done and upload it to my Facebook page. So you all could come over and visit me at my Facebook page, which I will put in the description of the video here, a link to it. And that's another way that you can connect with me. I thank you so much for watching what we've got so far, and I would love to see your painting too. If you come over to my Facebook page, you could send me a picture of what you paint in your art journal. All right, have a good night. Take care.